Well, hi, my friends. Welcome to our show. Miss Connie Smith is here rocking in her chair to the strains of Don Williams playing the guitar. Connie, welcome.
Yes.
Welcome.
What's that silly grin on your face, Ralph?
Well, I don't know. It's the way
You out to get me again, huh?
No. Yes, to be perfectly honest, I've been out to get you ever since I met you.
I know it. From the first time I was on your show.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Connie Smith is our guest star of the week. Connie, I love you, and I'm so delighted to see you.
Thank you, Ralph.
Connie, I was playing golf in the fashion that I play golf a few weeks ago, and I was playing with Ray Baker, your producer, and he was very high on a song he had recorded by you, and he said, I'm having the doggonest time getting the record out because Connie doesn't want it to come out, and I'm going to go to the phone and try to talk her into it. What's that all about?
Well, first of all, we recorded this song on Monument, and I thought it was a great song. I thought it was a hit song. And just the day we were going to release it, we found out another girl had recorded it. And that's one thing that I've always been big on is not covering. Because I know, I had so many covers when I recorded once a day. And had I not been on RCA, I probably would have got lost in the shuffle like Merle Haggard did for about 3 records. And I just felt like every play that girl could get on her first record may make a difference what her second record does. And I just didn't want to I didn't want to release it. All right, in the process, in the middle of all that, after it'd been almost 6 months since she had the record out, and it didn't, I don't know her name, don't know what label, but it didn't do much, and so it didn't get going. It got recommended in a cash box, which is good, for a new artist, but it didn't get going. So I said, it's okay, I don't mind putting it out. But by that time, I decided I didn't want any more country records out, period. So that's what it was.
All right, but you did not want to release the song for fear that it would hurt the career of a young girl singer.
Right.
All right. I'm kind of curious. I know Once a Day was your first hit. It was your first record. Mm-hmm. When that came out, did a lot of people jump on that and also record it?
Oh, yes.
I don't remember those other records.
Praise the Lord. No, it had a bunch of covers.
Who else did the tune at the time you did it?
I don't remember their names, but there was 3 or 4. One on Challenge, one on Sims, and I don't remember that if those record labels was out that time. But I know there was 3 or 4 covers all at the same time.
But you were on the heavy label.
But I had RCA behind me, and that was great.
Connie, I'm about to lose my voice. I'm going to get whatever you've got, I'm afraid.
It's not catching.
Connie is here. I'll qualify the way she sounds. She's got an allergy. What are you allergic to?
I think it's honeysuckle.
Excuse me. But Connie came in. You will never believe what she brought to the studio. She brought a big old box of paper tissues, and you came prepared, I assume, to blow a lot.
Yes, along with Ralph.
I see you also came to cut me a lot too, didn't you?
I gotta get the first stab in, or I'm shot.
Connie, I want to bring out something you told me one time about Loretta Lynn. The reason is I've been working with those folks putting together the Loretta Lynn movie, Coal Miner's Daughter. And in the movie, we recreate her first time at the Grand Ole Opry, and Ernest Tubb was in the picture, and he brings her on, and we went back down to the old Opry House and shot it. Now, this, I think, was around 1961. I'm just guessing now. But a few years later, I believe you told me she gave up, after she became a regular on the Opry, she gave up her spot so you could be on.
This was in 1964, when I had Once a Day, and it was #1 at convention time in November. And she was upset because here I had, this little girl had, like Loretta, I had the #1 record in the nation, and I wasn't on the Opry. So she had me come out and sing harmony to her, and Happy Birthday, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year, so I would be on the Opry. And she just was very indignant, that I wasn't on, and she was going to see to it that I was.
But you didn't get to sing your song, did you?
I don't remember. I really don't. But I remember what I remember about that I got to sing with Loretta. that was even better.
I want to reconstruct for a moment what we're doing here. We're talking about Loretta Lynn. Loretta Lynn, when she first came to Nashville as an unknown singer with a lot of potential and very little money, Patsy Cline took her under her wing, sort of, so to speak, both spiritually and financially. She helped her out financially. And Patsy gave Loretta encouragement at a time when she needed it. Then Loretta apparently didn't forget that lesson that Patsy taught her, because when Connie Smith came to town, she sort of looked after you for a while, didn't she?
Immediately. It was the first time in March of '64 when I came and sang on the Ernest Tubb Record Shop. Bill Anderson brought me down, and he was going to host it that night. That's why he'd asked me to come down, and then Ernest came to town, so he was on it. And I went up and sang Walk Out Backwards and was scared to death and come off stage, and Dew came and got me. She had sent him up. She was like pregnant with the twins.
All right, Dew is her husband.
And Loretta was very pregnant with the twins right before they were born. And she sent him up to come get me. She wanted to talk to me. So
where was she?
She was at the record shop, but she was back in the back.
Oh, okay.
Back in the back room. So she sent him up to get me, and he brought me back there where Loretta was, and I got to meet her, And she said she wanted me to know that I had what it took and that I was good, and there would be those in town that wouldn't like that, And she began to explain to me how the things happened with her, when she came to Nashville, and that she told me to hang in there and not let nobody run me off, that I had what it took, and if I ever need any help, she's there.
Did she tell you that people wouldn't like you because they were jealous?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I see. Now, I might explain that the Ernest Tubb Record Shop had a broadcast, and as it still does,
yes,
always follows the Grand Ole Opry. And a lot of young, unknown singers sing on the same show with the stars.
Yes.
On this show. And I guess this is where you made your radio debut.
Right.
But you hadn't recorded once a day at that time.
No, I hadn't recorded, period.
But that's interesting. Miss Loretta Lynn, what a nice lady she is.
Yes.
And so there she was doing for you what Patsy Cline had done for her. We were talking about Loretta Lynn, one of your favorite subjects.
Yes.
Now, you want to relate that little story that you saved for today's show?
Okay, I don't get to see her very often, and I just miss her so bad. So if she comes in at the Opry, I fight my way through. Just give her a hug and say hi, and how are you? And I want to check up and see if I think she looks okay, so I'll know how to pray.
Well, wait, what does all that mean? You act like her mother.
Well, I guess I feel like it. I just really love her.
You think
she does the same thing to me. She says she's been worried about me. But anyway, I just want to see.
Why do you worry about?
Because she works too hard.
Okay.
And I just want to see if she's okay. And so I got my way into the dressing room, and I asked her how she was. Oh, I'm okay. I've been home a couple of days. And she showed me her hands. She had great big blisters on her hands where she'd been working in the garden.
She
really did.
She does that. Here's Loretta Lynn, who is worth I don't know how much money. But she, that doesn't faze her a bit. She still gets her hands dirty around the house, cleaning, cooking, sweeping, ironing, and gardening.
She'll get home 4 days and can 900 quarts.
Huh?
She'll get home for 4 days and can 900 quarts.
Well, she can.
Everything.
Anything out of the garden.
Yes.
Do you remember an old television show they did here several years ago called Music Country? Maybe that was the title. Music Country America, or just Music Country. It was on NBC. Anyway, it was a variety show with a lot of different singers.
Yes, I think I did.
But anyway, they went down to Loretta's house one day because they did a lot of what they did. They did a lot of outdoor shooting on that particular show, and you'd lip sync your record, and you might be riding a horse or you might be in a car. But anyway, they went down to Loretta's house to shoot her. They had an appointment with her. I don't know whether she'd forgotten it or maybe she did remember it. But when they got there, she was painting the front door and painting the front porch. And she gave them all a paintbrush. And if they wanted to shoot her in their show, they'd have to help her finish her painting, and then she'd be ready to shoot.
That's great. I love that.
Sammy Smith, Connie Smith, Margot Smith, Cal Smith, Carl Smith.
Someone asked me at the Opry the other night if I was still married to Carl Smith. Usually on stage, they'd ask Carl, if I was his daughter, and he told them on stage one night, no, she's not my daughter. Actually, she's my mother. She's 67.
Connie Smith is probably one of the strangest entertainers I've ever met. And I've seen her go through 1,000 moods, and I've seen her transform her life from a person who loved show business, loved to beat the road, and that's a hard life,
Yes.
doing one-nighters. And she has always, I think, been totally consumed by music, or at least she was totally consumed by music until she had a transformation in her life and a confrontation with God. And yesterday, or was it 2 days ago, we were on the telephone, and you were telling me that you really would like to hang it all up and quit. Now, why is that?
Well,
Were you telling me you'd like to quit country music?
just quit being an entertainer, as such. There's no way I could really quit country music because it's a part of me. But as far as singing it, and having a career in country music or being a country entertainer, I quit a long time ago in my heart. I just been waiting for a long time.
Waiting for what?
Really, the first time I went out for 12 days on the road and left my little boy, Darren, he's 16 now, but he was about 2, and maybe not quite that, and left him with a babysitter whom I still watches my kids, and so I had a lot of trust in her even then. But when I left him and was gone 12 days, I said, it ain't worth it. I want to quit. I'm not willing to pay the price, for one thing. To me, it's not worth the price.
Well, now, this is some years later now. He's 16.
He's 16, and then I've got one that's almost 11. I've got one 5 and one 4 and one 2. And
wall-to-wall children at your house.
that's right. Curtain climbers all over the place. But when I came to Nashville, I wanted so bad for everyone to know that I could sing. I knew I wasn't the best, but I knew I was better than a whole lot. And I wanted everybody to know that. And I wanted to make a record, and all of that. But I didn't know, of course, what it all involved and the price all of it was. And when I came back from that first date and Mrs. Lee told me that Darren would have her put a record on, and play my record and look out the window and cry.
Made you feel guilty.
Well, it just wasn't worth it. And being away from him 12 days, it's just, I couldn't hardly stand it. So I took him with me, till he was about 4 years old. And then I realized it was for my sake and not his, because I knew he was going to be going to school before long, and then he'd sit there and look out the window because he'd been on the road so much. So I quit taking him for his own sake. And then somewhere, in that process, I didn't know what was happening, but the Lord knew what was happening. And I just found out the difference in believing in God, and I really know the Lord. He's in my heart, and He's changed my life. And whatever need it was that I had in there to be a singer, I don't have that need. It's not necessary anymore for me to be an entertainer.
All right. Now, Connie, you proved a point, though. You had a lot of hits. Okay? You achieved what you set out to achieve. If you had not had the hits, do you think you would have been frustrated and still be trying to find that hit record?
No, because it's really more frustrating this way, because I've wanted to quit for so long. Plus, I knew with my family I couldn't really put into it what it demanded to do it well. And it breaks your heart, to know you can do well. For instance, I'd go out and do the shows with all the top entertainers, and I had a band for some time, but even when I had the band, I didn't spend the time to rehearse and all that because I had to take it away from my family. And it's just not worth the price. So it's more frustrating to do it halfway. And then I feel like I'm not giving them what they deserve.
Giving who?
The people that I'm working for, the record companies, the promoters, the people that I'm singing to. I'm not giving them my best. When I don't think about a song until I'm on my way to the job, like what am I going to sing on the Opry? I think of it about 2 minutes down the road from the Opry. I'll spend 3/4 of the time getting there asking the Lord to clear my heart so I'm ready to minister to whoever He wants me to talk to, and then I happen to think, gee, I don't know what I'm going to sing.
Connie Smith indicated that she would like to quit this business.
I have.
You have quit it?
I have.
What do you mean you quit it? You guys still have a record? You're still on the Grand Ole Opry?
Yes, I'm still on the Opry.
Do you make personal appearances?
No.
Not in the sense that we know them?
No.
You do?
I did 2 last year.
Well, when did you quit? How long ago did you quit the one-nighters, the circuit that entertainers go on?
Well, I did 2 last year.
Well, I know.
You know,
but
so
it's-
that as far as I'm just, I've just actually come to the definite conclusion that this is it.
But several years ago, you quit going on the road on a regular basis.
Almost 11 years, really.
Has it been?
I've gone, maybe when Julie's 5, so 6 years ago, I cut down even more. But I cut down to about 6 days a month about 11 years ago when I got saved.
But as a result of getting saved?
Right. I knew at that time I was going through my second divorce and I had 2 children. And I knew that I didn't know anything about the Lord and how to live for Him or anything about life or anything else at that point. And I knew I needed to be with my children. I knew I needed to learn about the Lord so I could get my life straightened out. And I knew I couldn't do it out on the road because I just needed to get grounded in God's Word. So that was why.
So people can't see you perform on the stage very much unless they come to the Opry, and occasionally you do a guest appearance on a religious program.
Right. I've got like PTL and 700 Club, and I'll be on Rex Humbard in August, and so I've got those 3
Now
booked.
these are all
now.
television shows.
Right.
Do you ever appear on stage shows, gospel stage shows?
No. I haven't done that much. I've done it a little bit. I did a gospel concert out in California last year, and I'll do appearances, whatever you want to call it, at churches. I do more preaching than I do singing, but it's
You preach?
yeah, doesn't ever.
Well,
yeah.
A regular sermon.
I don't know if it's regular or not.
How long?
I just
How long a sermon?
However long they need. I don't know if you can call it preaching. I just tell them about the Lord and tell them what He's done in my life and what He can do for theirs. So I guess that's preaching.
Really changed your life.
That's right. You know it.
Did you ever have a broken heart?
About a $500,000 of them.
How could anybody break a pretty little heart like that?
It wasn't hard.
Did you ever break a heart?
Probably.
Huh?
Yeah, I reckon.
Have a boy
Never intentionally.
have a boy madly in love with you and you just turned him off?
I did that the other night, yes.
Really? Golly. I didn't know it was still going on.
I didn't either.
The guy told you that he was in love with you?
Yes.
He mean it?
Yeah, I reckon. He not really, because he doesn't really know me, but he thinks he is.
Aha. Yeah, he also knows you're married?
Yes, I tried to tell him that, and that if he really wanted someone to love, that the Lord would give him someone to love.
What's that old song? I know you're married, but I love you still.
And I thought that was your still.
I love yours still.
Yeah.
Quitting the business. And this sounds like an announcement of your retirement, but you're really not quitting the business in toto, are you?
As an entertainer or as a career, yes. But as far as
You're going to still sing on the Opry, aren't you?
right now, yes.
What does that mean, right now, yes?
Well,
You qualify
it's
everything.
all right. I'll tell you what it means. It means that, like several years ago, I was dropped from the Opry because I didn't meet my dates. It was a rough time I was having, and I didn't know. They booked me, and I thought I had to go. I didn't know that I could have canceled. So when I
All
didn't,
right, wait, you're very confusing.
okay,
Opry regulars are required to be there a certain
certain
number,
amount of dates, right?
20 weeks a year or 20
used
times
to
a
be,
year?
yeah. It's changed some, but anyway, it's a certain amount of time, and I didn't make it, so I was dropped because I had my Saturdays booked up, and I didn't know that I could cancel. So anyway, they dropped me. All right, then a year or so later, they asked me to come back, and I
What
didn't.
does it mean? I didn't know I could cancel. What does it mean?
I didn't know that I could cancel the contracts. In other words, if my promoter or my booking agent booked me, I didn't know that I could get out of the dates. I thought if they was booked, I had to show up,
Okay.
and there was no way they'd cancel. So anyway, I was dropped from the Opry for a while. When they asked me to come back, I wasn't going to come back because I was with my 2 boys and on the road still some, and I didn't want to be gone on the weekends. But finally, after I'd gotten saved, the Lord laid on my heart to go back to the Opry. So I went back, and then a little while later, they told me I couldn't testify on the Opry anymore, and I was going to quit. And they wouldn't accept my answer, so I thought I was going to get to be persecuted for the Lord's sake, I reckon. But they wouldn't accept my answer, and I said, well, I already know my answer, and they said, no, I won't take your answer, so you tell
What
me
was your
later.
answer?
I was going to say, no, I won't quit. I'll quit the Opry. And so
I won't quit.
I won't quit testifying.
Okay.
If I can't testify, I won't do the Opry. But I went home and I prayed. Well, actually, I went out by a little church in between shows that night at the Opry. And the Lord just spoke to my heart and told me that His Spirit would bear witness over the air, that He wanted me to witness to the people backstage. And so I said, okay. And it really hurt my feelings because I thought, I didn't like it that way. That I'd rather done it the other way around, personally.
You'd rather been in a position
A martyr,
to
yes,
preach.
right. And so, and I just didn't see this. But anyway, so I asked the Lord a while back as I was considering this. I almost, quit the whole thing about when I was dropped from Columbia, and
Columbia Records.
yes, and CBS, and I didn't get to then. So I asked the Opry if I sang only gospel, would they drop me, and they said they didn't think so. And I never got into it any farther because I didn't quit at that time. I signed with Monument Records. All right, then I asked the Lord a while back, can I quit the Opry too? And I didn't get an answer. I kept praying about it, and I didn't get an answer. So Brother Moore said one time, do what the Lord tells you until He tells you something else. So I figured that that's what He still wants me to do. Now, whether I'll sing country and gospel, I'm not sure. But right now, I'll still be on the Opry.
You going to make any more records?
Not country.
The record,
Don't Say Love.
that'll be your last country
Yes,
record?
as far as I know.
I think that's a shame, but I respect your convictions.
Thank you.
But I hate to see you leave the country music fold. I really do. You've contributed so much.
Well, they're my special people, so I would miss, as far as leaving altogether, I would miss it. And I miss them now because I'm not on the road, don't get to visit with them much.
Earlier, we were talking about the fact that you might quit the Grand Ole Opry and all that sort of thing, and I feel like I've sort of left a string or two loose here. And you're not going to make any more country records?
Not going to make any more country records.
You going to record gospel records?
Probably.
But you
I'm
don't
sure
like
of
the
it, yeah.
term gospel.
Not necessarily. No, I'd rather say, country, hymns, whatever. But it'll be about the Lord. It'll be inspirational, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
But not necessarily gospel. I don't feel like I'm gospel. It is the gospel. It's the good news. But it's I'll be doing it country because I'm country.
Okay. Now, can you, since you want to pursue a career in that fashion, can you get a major record company to record you doing gospel songs?
I've had several of the gospel labels. I've talked with several of them. I'm just kind of waiting on the Lord. I think I know what's going to happen. But that's not really important. I'm not going to pursue a career in that. My singing will just go along with my sharing, preaching, whatever you want to call it.
Would you like to be a working evangelist?
I have to share the Lord. If I don't leave the house, I spend hours on the phone sharing the Lord because that's what I'm happy.
That's the reason I couldn't get through to you.
That's right. That's right. I'm a counselor at the church, and I also got a teenager, and I've got a bunch of the kids that use the phone too, but and some that leave it off the hook if even just playing with it. But it's that's part of my life. The Lord has done a lot in my life, and He does that in order that I might share with others. So that's my calling, more than I'm called to be a singer. Mm-hmm. I'm called to share what the Lord has done and to counsel with other people. It's easier to counsel people than it is to live it myself, and I pray about that a lot. But my singing, I don't feel necessarily called of God to be a singer. I know God gave me a voice to sing, and I enjoy singing, when they call me up at the church to sing. But usually it's along with a little bit of a message that I give. So if I'll sing, it'll be to go along with my preaching, not as a career.
Connie, I'm curious. Back years ago, when Bill Anderson brought you to Nashville and you recorded his songs, did you become his girl singer in his band?
No, I didn't. Even without becoming his singer, people thought I was. That was one thing that Bill didn't want.
Were you his girlfriend?
No, I'm his friend.
I know.
I'm like I'm a girl, so I guess so. Yeah.
Now, were there rumors? About the two of you?
Everybody I've ever done more than 2 tours in a row with, there's been rumors about.
So I suppose there was rumors of a romance between Connie Smith and Bill Anderson.
I never heard them, but there probably was.
Yeah.
And I probably did hear them. I don't remember any, but I'm sure that there were.
But and looking back over those years, I don't recall. I can't.
Yeah, were there rumors, Ralph?
No,
did you hear any?
I can't recall whether you went on the road with him all that much.
No, I didn't, because Bill felt like he thought I would make it better if I would get known as myself and not as Bill Anderson's girl singer, because back that time it was Norma Jean being Porter Wagner's girl singer, and he said, I don't want you to follow that. It'll be easier for you to go ahead and go on your own.
In this wonderful world of country music, it has benefited me in a great many ways, but I think that the greatest benefit I've found are some very nice friendships I've established, and Connie
Me
Smith
too.
is one of those great friendships that I've established.
Yes, Ralph, I must say you're at least in my top 10.
Am I?
Yes.
Golly, I appreciate that.
The Lord knows that. Yes, I love you much.
Well, Constance, that's about it, honey. It's about all the time we have.
Well, Ralphie, I loved it. You got to come out the house.
Thank you, I will.